All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of our college cinema talk show here. I'm again with Greg and Connor, and we're back talking about a new movie, and it's actually an animated movie, the first one that we have done out of the seven episodes we've done so far. And this is Spider-Man. I believe it's Into the Spiderverse is the full title, if I'm correct. So I suppose we just get right into it. I had never seen this movie before I watched it. I don't know if Connor or Greg, either of you had seen it before we watched it for this podcast.
Not.
You had not, Connor. You had seen it prior?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
Okay.
Maybe once in theaters and then once or twice after it was
Oh, really? Okay.
out in video. Yeah.
So I'd venture to guess that this is one of your favorite movies, or at least you very much enjoy it.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I guess with that we can just get right into the movie. So right off the bat, I believe it start with the intro of the original Spider-Man. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
he's like, "All right, people," and he like
Okay.
starts narrating
Yep.
his
I have to say,
personal journey.
I loved when they like kind of they reference like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, like with the dancing, like the dun dun. Yeah, and that happened, but we don't talk about that. And I was just like, that really cracked me up because we always like to this day, like my brother and like friends and I like always make fun of that like that movie. It was just so weird.
I didn't even notice that actually. That's kind of funny. But yeah, so it started off with that, and I guess it's worth pointing out, right, that was like a pretty like common thing in terms of like the Spider-Men or Spider-Women or whatever introducing themselves that way, and like all
Yeah.
right, like
With the
here we
comic
go,
book
here we
jumping
go
on.
again or something, or let
Yeah.
me like this is the last time or something, or yeah. So they always did like that origin like that, which I thought was kind of neat. But yeah, I don't know, right off the bat, I didn't really expect to see a like for some reason I just kind of came in with like the notion that like this Spider-Man was like he was the original one. I didn't really expect it to be like, oh, there's already a Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Man for 10 years, and he's just, he saved the city all the time. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. So I thought
I
that
mean, I
was
think that's what this movie does like really well is kind of do something different than what you're used to. Like it's not a typical kind of like superhero origin story that we've seen, before.
yeah, I would agree with that because during the movie I wrote down a few times like I was getting ready to type during a certain scene. I was like, all right, I know what's gonna happen. This is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, and then something different happened. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like I didn't expect that. I was like, wow, okay, that's not bad.
strong points. It was not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It was definitely not predictable in the sense of like a classic like superhero movie. So I thought that was very neat. Um, so I don't know. I guess we can start off the bat just talking about Miles and his relationship with his dad and his uncle, I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, actually, before we
wanna
jump into
mention
that,
something?
I wanted to bring up like the style of the movie as a whole because we were talking about the intros to the characters
Mhm.
and how that was like kind of like unique and fun, and I think it was like a part of the style of the movie. And this movie like really, like I said, it did things differently, and it took like a really different approach to animation. Also, I don't know, like it looked like a comic book, but also like it looked like an actual animation at the same time, which I thought always like kept me like entertained. Like sometimes it would have like those little like sound like markings from when things
Yes.
happened, and I thought that was super cool. Or like sometimes words would pop up on the page like he was thinking them and things like that. And I don't know, it just made you kind of feel like you were like in a comic book, but
Well,
you were like watching the comic book happen, which I really like.
yeah, it almost had like sort of a stop motion-y like feel to it. Like it was not the typical animation. Like
Yeah.
I honestly felt like all the colors and the movements, like the movements were so quick and stuff. Like it felt like I was like I guess no other way to put it like intoxicated when I was watching it. And I was
Yeah.
like really kind of like out of
Wow.
acid
Hmm.
trip kind of. And so I had to get used to it. Uh,
Yeah, they did. I remember when I saw this in theaters, they had a big warning at the beginning, like if you have epilepsy, you shouldn't watch this movie.
Mm,
This movie.
no, that's exactly I agree
makes
with that.
sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Say that.
So yeah, I would agree. I've never really wanted. I've never really been a big fan. Maybe it's just a lack of exposure to it, but I've never really been like very interested in watching animated movies and stuff like that. It's just I just haven't really felt like an interest in doing so. But yeah, I would agree. I wrote down specifically that I thought it was really cool how like they did the little like comic book like sound effects like bang and boom, like and like pop and stuff like that. They did that a few times, which is cool. And
Mhm.
also it was neat. Yeah, you're right, Connor, being able to see like his like thoughts sometimes in like the little comic book like boxes or rectangles kind of. That was kind of neat as well. Um yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really well done. It was like I guess it was like normal animation with like those comic book like effects around it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
like was am I like some of the the explosions, right? And especially when they did that like
Yeah. And then it
that
becomes like really
interdimensional thing.
colorful and stuff.
Yeah, it was all like
Yeah.
colorful and like it just looked like very like comic booky looking the way like the explosion or like the colors
Yeah.
were
With
like
the
combining.
super collider.
Yeah, the super collider, is that what it was called?
Yeah, because it's like
Uh
colliding things, I guess, colliding universes. Yeah.
it's very big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
like,
yeah.
well, while we're talking about like the thought bubble things, that makes me think. It reminded me of the scene where he's like discovering that he has powers, and he like got his hand stuck to Gwen's like hair, right? And then
Yep.
he gets taken off, and then he's like, nobody knows, and he's like, everybody knows, and then somehow like the security guard ends up chasing him, and he falls into his office, and then he's like out on like the walls outside of the building with his like feet sticking to the wall and stuff like that. And I just felt like the whole time, like it was such a genuine kind of like it was like both a genuine representation of how like a teenager might handle like discovering his powers while also being like comical and whimsical enough to be like a part of this kind of like comic booky like animation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I thought it was really neat being able to see his thought process or train of thought as he was like, especially when he's walking down that hallway, right? And he's like,
Yeah,
nobody knows, like just act
yeah.
normal. And he's like, oh wait, like, and you could, yeah, it was just that whole train of thought was kind of neat, just being able to
Mhm.
like get a glimpse inside of his head and everything. Yeah, I don't know if like, I'm sorry, Greg, if you wanted to add anything. I'm sorry, I kind of jumped the gun
And
there.
he has that little joke in there where the guy's like, I know you were sneaking out last night, Morales. And then he's like, play dumb. And then he's like, who's Morales? And
He's
he's
like,
like,
not that
"Ah,
dumb.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it had a lot of good little jokes like that throughout the movie too, I think.
yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
So was he um he was his mother was Mexican and his father was African American.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I believe that is correct. Um,
I liked
yeah,
him.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that was really neat. I guess again, I guess is it okay if we go back to like the way it starts out with like I guess him and his dad or his
I thought that
Yeah.
was I
Yeah,
thought
sure,
that
sure.
was very cute. Like he had a very cute personality. His dad was cute. Like I
Are you
don't
talking about
know.
his dad?
It was a very cute movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was neat.
Yeah.
I thought his dad was nice. Connor, I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah. No, I thought it was like his dad was a cool character because he wasn't like a traditional like, dad who's like, you better do well or else, he was like more compassionate than that,
Yeah,
like but he was still like tough on his kid, which was like a character you don't really see that often, which I thought was kind of cool to have them like have this sort of conflict. It's like a semi-conflict between each other, like butting heads. But then like through like Miles's own journey, he like figures out how to like reconcile his differences with his dad, like by the end of the movie, which
Well, like
does he?
yeah,
it was like he um he wasn't like abusive or anything. He was just doing it for like what he thought was like gonna help his son like fulfill his
He was doing
potential.
what he thought was best for his son. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't think they would have agreed at the end, Ryan?
I don't think I. That was one of my few discrepancies with the movie. You go all that way, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't like tell his dad who he was,
Oh no, but that's not
Oh,
what happened.
huh?
That doesn't
that
happen though.
didn't matter to me that he didn't tell his dad who he was.
But I wish he did because I feel like that would have like come full circle in terms of like um because I felt like throughout the movie it kind of him being very apprehensive to talk to his dad about stuff kind of signaled just like a lack of not trust isn't the right word, but I guess trust in like how his dad will react in terms of like will he not like love me anymore or care for me. Like I wish at the end it would kind of he would have told him just because it would have signaled like a sort of like I know my dad cares about me no matter what. You know what I mean?
Well, I
I
felt
just
like
wish.
I kind of got that with like the phone call that they had at the end, plus the fact that like when he hugged his dad as Spider-Man, he was like, his dad said like, I don't agree with your methods, but like, and he's like, I'm looking forward to working with you. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
I still kind of got that from that because, like, as an audience member, you realize like the dad has become more accepting of Spider-Man, and Miles has become more accepting of like what his dad wants out of him and stuff like that, and
Like, he
how his
realizes that
dad
just wants
sees
the
the world.
best.
They just both become more understanding of each other, and I felt like you could get that through their phone call at the end.
No, I think I totally agree. I think you can get that as well. I just so close to. I know. You can get that. I just wish it was like it went full
Maybe it's
circle.
making you like want to watch the second one,
It
you
went
know?
it went like 90% of the way around the circle.
Yeah.
It didn't come full circle.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the other Spider-Man movies, like Peter doesn't tell Aunt May, like she never knows, but then
at
you
least
know
at the start, yeah, she doesn't know.
their relationship like heals. Like they have strife, then it heals. He doesn't use the Spider-Man thing as a way to like
Yeah,
bridge the connection.
I suppose.
Did
Um,
you talk about like his dad versus like Uncle Aaron and stuff like that, Ryan?
sure. I mean, we can talk about like, what would you like to talk about? You want to talk about like
Well, I just remember you brought up earlier, and I think
yeah.
Greg has something to say about it.
Cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, Greg, of course.
I love what they did with this because it was a reverse of the typical uncle role in Spider-Man. It was like usually the uncle's like good, then he gets killed, and it's like a dramatic moment. But this time the uncle is a villain and he gets killed, and it's still a good moment. So I think that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I will say after like the first time they went and like they went in that tunnel and he spray paint he like was like putting graffiti up. I not that it was bad at all, but like I kind of assumed that the uncle would end up being like the bad guy just because of like the like
Oh,
the
really?
yeah. I mean I could have just had a lucky guess, but I kind of was like, all right, I'm not. I mean, I think he'll end up being a bad guy.
From
I mean,
I think I drew that because of the tension with him and his dad. I think, and the dad just clearly disliked
okay,
him, and maybe I thought the dad was a really good guy, and he had to
maybe
dislike him for a certain reason. I don't know.
I mean, I could see that, but I think that like his uncle, it was interesting because like, when you first get introduced to him, you're like, oh, this is a cool uncle, you know, like I understand
Yeah.
why Miles likes this guy over his dad. Like he can actually like understand Miles, at least from Miles' perspective, he can like understand and he can like sympathize and hang out with him and stuff. And they can both have the perspective of like, oh, your dad's a stick in the mud or something like that, right?
both. I got both interpretations. Like actually, now that I think about it, like I really thought he was like the cool uncle. Like yeah, maybe his dad was over the top, but I also was like, I was also wondering like a little bit like even though I didn't really think it, I was like,
I know what
why
you mean.
dad have a problem with this guy though?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could tell that like his uncle like wasn't like a bad person. He just kind of got, you know, involved with Kingpin, you know?
He was
Uh,
absolutely
see,
huge.
that might be another. I mean, they didn't really have. I guess they didn't really put the time in to explore it at all. But that might be another small thing. Like we didn't get any. That might be a problem with all like the other, like the folks they had on the other plots. But we didn't get any background on why like the uncle and the dad disliked each other or why the uncle was with like working for Kingpin. That
Well,
that might be
I feel like that doesn't really matter. Like all that
yeah.
matters is that the dad and the uncle drifted apart and they are not really like friends anymore. Because that's like a big theme of the story between Miles and his dad. Like they don't want to drift apart.
No, yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you, but I was just saying that because you said like we know that his uncle's not a bad guy and it's like but
I
like
mean, yeah, I didn't mean like we don't know.
yeah.
We don't know, of course, we don't know,
Yeah,
but like,
okay.
he's obviously not some like person without emotion or who's not human or anything like that, you know. Like he still like cared about Miles, you could tell,
Mhm.
and he still
Well,
wanted the best for him in his own way, you know.
Yeah, of course. I guess so if we want to move on just in semi chronological order, I wanted to get to the is it okay if I skip to the scene when Miles go? Or do you want to go to when Miles gets bit, or can we skip past that? I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on like that period of the movie, but if not, like, because I was gonna bring up the time. Sorry, Connor. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say that the only thing I have to say about that scene is like, I mean, obviously I've seen this movie before, but the first time I watched it, I was like watching that scene, I was just like waiting for the spider to bite him, like the whole scene. I'm like, when is it gonna happen? You know? I don't know. I just
Yeah.
thought that was like cool because you're like anticipating what the picture is gonna look like and like anticipating the spider bite, and it's like it was surprisingly kind of like suspenseful, even though it wasn't like a suspenseful scene, you know.
I know what you mean. Can I just say that was a weird looking spider? I'm gonna tell you, that was a strange spider. Like that had to have been artificially made.
It
Like,
was. It was an Alchemex spider. It like said it on it, I'm pretty sure. That's basically like the company that
why are they making spiders?
I don't know, but it was the company that it was Kingpin's company that was right there basically, that was where they made the super collider. I assume they were doing other experimentation that created that spider or something.
Interesting. Well, that came back to bite them.
Wait, yeah. Wait, why was it was like glitching too? It was weird.
The
I don't
spider?
know. I assume it was one of their experiments, maybe to try and
Yeah.
defeat the actual Spider-Man who they had.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was kind of interesting. I so I guess moving on from there, what I wanted to go on to was when Miles was he found Spider-Man, like he actually found Spider-Man. Um, and just that whole scene. I I really liked the introduction to like the actual Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man. And I was sad. I was very sad. I was very sad what happened to that scene. I was very
Oh
sad.
yeah, I did not expect Spider-Man to die.
I didn't expect it at all. But I kind of knew it. I knew it was gonna happen when Miles goes down to him and Spider-Man goes like I think he started like did he start coughing? He's like, "Oh, that's not a
He's
good
like,
sign."
that's not the coffin's not a good sign.
And
Yeah,
he's like Miles is like, "Are you gonna be okay?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, you know, I'll get up." He's like, "I always get back up." And it's like
yeah.
It
you
was
could just
very sad.
I don't know. I could just see the end. That was sad.
The way that he died was very anticlimactic. He just smashed him.
Right?
I think they didn't want to like show you anything because like it's still a kids movie, right? So
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I didn't mind the way he died. I just it was just sad because it was very like abrupt and surprising because I thought it would be like sort of a Batman versus Robin or Batman and Robin kind of dynamic.
hmm
Which it turned out to kind of be that way, just not with that Peter
yeah,
Parker.
That contributes to his lack of like predictability, which is good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought that was really neat.
I
Also,
also think it was like more interesting to watch him kind of be like mentored by this kind of like downtrodden like older Spider-Man who's kind of like done with
yeah, kind of like past his prime.
yeah, I thought it was more interesting to have that kind of a mentor than kind of like the Spider-Man we're all used to, who's like always saving the day and stuff like that. It made it more
Yeah,
kind of like
he has it all. He's just doing great. Yeah, I know
yeah,
what you
it
mean.
made it more interesting, like both comically and like you had like more. It was like more stakes in their relationship too, sort of.
I know what you mean. I also it was just interesting though when he was like when Spider-Man was in that scene the entire time, even though there were I think there were three enemies that came at him like during that like initial real Spider-Man scene, and he you know he was like making jokes. He was like you know lighthearted and everything. Like
Yeah,
he
he was
just
like comic book Spider-Man. Yeah.
yeah, but like it was because like I don't know, he just didn't expect at all to like lose because he was so used to just always saving
Yeah.
the day,
For so many years, he just did the same thing. It was just
saving the
routine.
city. Yeah,
Mhm.
I just thought that was kind of interesting. Can I also say one thing? Kingpin just is absolutely massive. This guy is
Yeah.
just it was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. He's
Yeah.
just. Did you see when he got out of like an SUV? He just gets out of like an SUV that's like smaller than him, and he just gets
Yeah.
out of it. And just he's bigger than the SUV. I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Sometimes my siblings will like walk around the house singing their Kingpin, like they put their shoulders up really high.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Below his back.
hmm
Also, yeah. So in one of my notes, I wrote like, "Is the uncle a bad guy?" Question mark. He had to go abruptly. I wonder if he's gonna be a bad guy later.
Oh
Because
yeah.
that was why. Because he had to go abruptly. Because remember, he's like, "Oh, we gotta go."
Yeah.
Miles, I think.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the pointer to me. But anyway,
Well, that's probably good detective work by you, Ryan. I wouldn't
why?
say
Thank
that's the
you.
fault of the movie. I would say that like they
Thank
were
you.
trying to give a little hint for you there.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm jumping around a lot here, and I'm sorry, but I also want to say I don't know if this has to do with the comics or just like this Spider-Man in particular, but he was sticking to like everything a lot more than any other Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. That was like
Yeah.
that was insane.
I think it was supposed to be
Over the top a
like
little bit, or
I think it was supposed to be kind of a symbol or a metaphor for him like having to relax, like he had to relax to unstick, relax to let go. And like he had to relax to kind of like let go of his like fears about school and his life and stuff like that. And his fear of becoming Spider-Man because he didn't want to be a Spider-Man, you know? He
mm,
didn't want that pressure, he just wanted to be a normal kid.
yeah.
And yeah, I did think it was interesting. Like, I just think it was a cool, different way of like him learning how to use his powers, though. You know?
Also, very random powers. I was kind of like, what?
Yeah,
I was like,
I mean,
Connor?
those are the powers he has in the comics, so it's
Okay,
not.
okay. I
Yeah.
was wondering if it was based on comics. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Oh,
Because yeah, I would agree, Greg. It was very random, and those genetically engineered spiders, man, they're
Yeah.
crazy. Um, so I suppose we can talk about the second Peter Parker,
Yeah.
who I think we can all agree had a much more volatile or much more, I wouldn't necessarily say engaging, but just intriguing character change and development compared
Yeah.
to like the other Peter Parker.
He
I,
actually ended up, I think, becoming my favorite character by the end of the movie.
really
Yeah.
nice. I mean, I think I would agree with that as well. Actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on him? Like, how did you like the way he was introduced? Did you like the way like, the whole relationship started off? I don't know what you guys thought about that.
very disgruntled, kind of like, worn out, retired.
It's
I
kind
like
of kind of
that
broken almost, right?
jaded. Yeah, no, I like that. Because it also gave him like a struggle to learn. Like I feel like it would have been a lot more boring if he just came in and he was like, "All right, let's do this." Like
I
we have to
understand.
Yeah.
Like the other
like
Peter Parker, yeah. I mean, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can tell that he's kind of lost a lot of like
His mojo.
he doesn't want to like make connections with people because how his connection with like MJ turned out back in his world, and
mhm.
he like that seems like that really did a number on him, and you could like tell even from his like introduction where he's like um because no matter how many times like I get hit, I get back up and he's like crying in the shower, or he's like
Yeah.
one day I'm sitting in my apartment doing sit-ups, doing push-ups, getting strong, and he's like eating pizza and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like even his introduction right away like lets you know like, oh, this guy's like been through some stuff, but he's gonna pretend like nothing's wrong most of the time. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
He's gonna just
interaction.
put on a brave face. Yeah.
Yeah, put on a brave face, try and like he wants to be the hero. He doesn't want other people to like save him. He wants to be the one to save other
Well, he
people.
also doesn't want us like anyone to notice like that he's changed. That he's not
Yeah,
what he once was.
he doesn't want people to think that he's less than he should be or anything like
I
that.
also loved how
Yeah.
like he was also simultaneously being taught by um you know Miles. Was it Miles?
Yeah, it was Miles.
By Miles.
Yeah, Miles was teaching him things about himself too, which was interesting.
Hmm.
Like along the way
Yeah.
about
No. Yeah. I would totally agree.
yeah.
Like the part that I found most like glaring, and I'm sure like it's very obvious, but just the change from when he gets there, I believe I think he said he hated children.
Oh yeah, or
He's like
he
this is
didn't
he's
want
like
children, I
I think
think.
he's like this is why I don't want children or something. I think
Yeah.
when he was first like going into the lab with Miles, but then at the end I think they're in the final battle and he says something like,
He's like, I'm
"Do
so
I
proud
want?"
of
He's
you.
like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm so proud." He's like, "Do I want kids or something?" Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool because it was like a very obvious yet like a quick and small like little thing that showed
Mhm.
like how different, how
Yeah, I mean,
changed he was.
Miles basically like teaches him like how to work with others,
I
and
also think he also taught him to like he re-inspired him.
yeah, he did. He
More of a
inspired him, because like and I think the first time you really see that is when like Miles follows him into like Alchemix like Kingpin's like building, and he like runs into him in like the
the
stairs on
fence.
the top, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not watching Spider-Man die again. Like I can't do that. And he's like, wow, most people in the workplace try to kill me. So you're a nice change of pace. And like
Yeah.
it's like a just quick line, but like I feel like that's when you like start to see the change in him, and you're like, oh, okay. Miles is kind of changing this guy a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, this movie really did have a very good balance of like fun and fast-paced like action scenes and such like that, and also like had a nice like a balance of like comic relief and humor, also with like emotional and like relatively intense emotional scenes.
Yeah.
Like there were a fair amount of them, I would say.
Yeah.
I
Um,
agree.
like the
I
one I'm sorry, I was just saying one thing. The one thing I was thinking of was when um they kept telling Miles like you're not ready, like repeatedly. They said it
Oh
multiple
yeah, that was intense.
times, and he was in his dorm room, and he like wraps him up, and he's trying to like kind of like pump him up almost
Yeah.
like they did earlier in Aunt May's like bunker. They're trying to like almost like try to get a reaction on him, get him to like snap almost, get him to just use his powers. And like I liked how all the other, was it 4 or 5 like spider people were just on like the wall outside, just like hoping, like, because like
Yeah.
they left, but they were still hoping that something would click in him, and I just thought that was really nice, because they're all hoping, it didn't work. It was just, I don't know, I just thought that was really nice.
What were you gonna say, Greg?
I don't know.
uh,
Yeah, no, I think um, the whole like theme in this movie of like it was very had like the emotional aspect. I think they covered a lot of bases without like skipping too far ahead. Like they just really mix it well together. Like trust, love, family, like the power that that gives somebody is like I think that was a very good symbolism.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and then like right after they leave and he's like sitting there and then his dad comes to visit him and like kind of he thinks that
Yes.
Miles is ignoring him, so he's like,
Yeah, why did he put the thing over his mouth? That was so that was too over the top.
I think because he didn't want someone to come like let him out and then Miles would
Okay,
come.
I see.
And but uh what was I saying? Oh, his dad's like giving him this like speech. It wasn't like super overly emotional or anything. It was just like his dad saying like, you know, I care about you, like something bad happened and like
Yeah.
I understand if you don't want to talk and stuff. It was like I don't know, it just seemed like a very real thing that a father might say to his son. And that is like ultimately the thing that inspires him to like gain control, like gain the confidence to use his powers the way he wants to use them and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
he didn't respond to like the berating and like, what if, can you do this, can you do that and stuff. He like responded to like someone genuinely, his father, like genuinely expressing his emotions and trying to show his understanding and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting. Like
Very beautiful.
that was the moment when
Yeah, it was
he
really good. I agree. I mean,
I
if
love
we're going on like emotional scenes, I also thought that the one with the whole like maybe 15 or 20-minute sequence after we found out who his uncle was, I think it was Prowler was his name. Um, that was, I thought that was so cool. Just like the
oh
first time when he's in his uncle's or he's in his uncle's apartment, and like his uncle comes back. Or he thought it was like a villain, and he hides,
yeah.
and then he goes invisible, but like it's actually his uncle, and he was so scared. And
And
then
like the music shows that too. The music like jumps at you and it's
I
like
know, it was great. And then that chase scene, I remember writing down, like, I thought that chase scene was really well done. I thought that was really nice. Like, just like the whole like chasing of like Miles, and then the whole big fight with all the villains at Aunt May's house.
yeah. That was a cool
Uh,
action scene too with
that
all the
was really good. And
he
then when
was
his uncle finally found out it was Miles, I thought, I was convinced. Hold on, I want to find where I wrote it down. I think I thought I wrote something like, "Oh, the uncle's gonna have like a really good plan to get him out of there," right? Like I was convinced that the uncle was gonna somehow survive,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I didn't think he was shot.
I didn't think he was gonna die. I thought like he was gonna like do some quick thing where he like pretends to kill Miles or something, or like, you know what I mean, like or it's just something.
I think he was
And
gonna join them.
yeah, but nothing. He just got shot. And also, can I say, I know they don't want to show like graphic and gory scenes, but like we didn't even get to see where he got shot. Like, did the guy even get shot? I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Blood.
There was absolutely zero, but there was like zero blood. I was like, what in the world? So that
Yeah.
was,
Well,
yeah.
his suit was covering it.
That's fair.
I thought Aunt May was so funny, just so dry. She's like, I said, take it outside.
Yeah,
Was she a
yeah, I
favorite
agree.
character, Greg?
I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
She
love
was
the one.
fun. This was a good version of Aunt May, I thought.
I liked her. Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan, that was really like an emotional like
Very good.
sequence of events too, because you're like there with Miles the whole time. Like, first of all, like you find out your uncle is like a villain, and then you like get attacked by all these other villains,
Mm.
and you don't even know how to defend yourself yet. So he's like all panicking and stuff like that, and then your uncle gets shot after he's trying to kill you, and it's like, I think that was like just a moment for that made Miles kind of realize like the seriousness of what he was involved in and stuff like that, you know?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I do like though that they did that because it was a catalyst for all the other spider people like in their origin stories, I believe every single other one of them, they mentioned it. Like they all had someone
Yeah.
die that was close to them, and they're like, if anyone knows what it's like, it's us. Because I mean, it was a very common theme, if not like it was like in all of their stories. So it was very. I thought that was really cool how like it was just a
Yeah.
like commonality between all of them.
Like Spider-Man Noir's Uncle Benjamin from the 1930s.
Okay, I have a
Yes,
question.
yes, he. Yeah, sorry, Greg.
So, okay, about some of those characters, like the pig, like the anime girl. What? I was just
Yeah,
like,
what in the world? Tell me that's not a part of the
also, like,
comics.
the guy from the
I mean,
19.
they do have their own comics. Like, there's a Spider-Man for everything, you know? Like, there's so many Spider-Man.
So they're just
It's
pulling.
not like they just made those up. Like, they actually took those from places, you know?
Well, like the pig. Also, like, how is the guy have powers from the 1930s? Like, the spider like requires like extreme new modern technology to be able to like come up with. How did they come up with that spider?
I will say, okay, but how did Captain America get his powers? Okay, I mean, old technology.
Fair point. But why would they
Uh,
still doing the whole spider thing? Like, and
that's a good point, but I will say, that guy was. Who's your favorite of the other Spider-Mans, other than the other Peter Parker?
probably John Mulaney.
Who?
Oh,
Pig.
Spider-Ham, the little pig.
The
But
pig.
I was like, at the same time, I was like, what?
Wait, Greg, who's your favorite? I'm sorry.
Like John Mulaney's character who
It's
plays.
a pig.
Oh, the pig. Okay, because my favorite was it Spider-Man Noir?
Yeah.
Yes, that guy was my favorite.
He was voiced by Nicolas Cage.
He was
Yeah.
cool. Like they introduced him, and he's just in like the shadows. He's like, I think he said like, "With me comes the wind that smells
Yeah,
like."
and he's like, sometimes I let a match burn down my fingertips just to
Yeah,
feel something.
yeah. I don't know. I thought that was so good. He was like, he was just so cool. He was so
And he had
like,
the Rubik's Cube too, and he's like, I don't
yeah.
understand.
I'm gonna take this cube back with me, and I
Oh,
will understand it.
well, okay. He was my favorite.
Yeah, he was really cool. He was really cool.
I mean, the pig was pretty cool. Was pretty funny too,
He
and
was
like,
funny.
yeah,
I just like the characters who have a combo of like fun to them and like intensity. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Wait,
I mean, I think that, like they don't really have time to like explore.
Yeah, I
those
know. I know. Yeah,
characters
no, yeah,
in depth.
of course.
I think
Was
they're just trying to
Spider-Man
give
an
some
actual character?
variety and like, this is a multiverse. Like they have.
I
Like,
will
all
say
these
if
other-
they did a spin-off with the Spider-Man Noir, I would watch it. That sounds so good. He's like,
It's fun.
yeah, it sounds so cool. Um, all right. I mean, what else is there? I wanted to bring up one more thing. There were so many villains in this movie, so many, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, I was not expecting there to be a female Doc Ock. I was very
Oh yeah, that was
surprised.
cool.
I was like,
That
Like
oh,
you're not because like it's totally unexpected.
I was like,
really.
is this? I didn't know this was a thing. Yeah, I
Her
thought that was
arms
really,
weren't metal either.
what were
Yeah, they
they?
were like some like a
Tubing
silicone
thing?
thing or
Yeah,
something like
okay.
that.
But yeah, I thought that was really neat. It was a cool twist because I just thought they was like the scientists because Kingpin threatened her like, "You have 24 hours," right? When the other Peter Parker was like, "This is
Oh
about
yeah,
to say you have 24 hours." uh,
yeah, that's funny.
but that's
When he's like
interesting.
typical
Is
Spider-Man stakes.
Is
Like,
Kingpin? Could he really beat that Doc Ock girl that easily? Like that's just kind of like
what do you mean? Like in a fight?
yeah, because he's like you have 24 hours. Like he could just roll her if he had to. Like could he?
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It,
Kingpin in this movie, he seemed pretty like authoritative and like
yes, he
people.
did. He did. Also, can we talk about that for a second? I really liked how they I like to see this is what the Highwaymen lacked. I like how they humanized, or not humanized, but you got to see why
His
Kingpin was doing what
motivation,
he
sort
did.
of, like why he's doing
Yes,
what he's doing
Wh-
for his
whether
family.
whether it was rational or irrational, which it was pretty irrational if you ask me. But like, you got to see why he was doing it. And it was pretty sad, right? Like
Yeah. His
he
family was dead.
he was fighting Spider-Man, and his family
Yeah,
saw him, and they were very sad and scared of him after that, and so they ran.
I had no.
And they got killed in a car crash after they ran from him because he was a bad. They found out he was a bad guy. That's like all,
Yeah.
like guilt on him.
Yeah, and it that also kind of has like a parallel with Miles discovering his uncle's a bad guy too. And him,
Yes,
like,
Miles
running
is the
away
family.
there.
Yes.
And when he runs away from his uncle, there's also a car crash.
Yes, except Miles is That's actually true. Oh my gosh! Except Miles is Spider-Man, so he can survive it. Yeah. I also really liked his suit. What did you guys think? Did you like his suit?
Yeah, I did like.
I thought it was like graffiti.
I thought
Yeah,
it was cool.
Spray painted it himself, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I like the suit they gave. Are they,
Super
Connor?
dope.
Do you know if they're gonna make another one or no?
Yeah, they are. I don't know
They
if this
are?
is a good time to bring this up, like with the graffiti thing. Like, I like how they like kind of integrated like his culture and his upbringing like into the
Yeah.
movie too. And it wasn't like overbearing either. Like it wasn't all about him being like a black Spider-Man or anything like
I know
that. But
what you
like the
mean.
music kind of reflected his upbringing and like the things he did, the way.
The music was very good, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know if Greg would have liked the music that much, but I thought it was like really
Yeah, Greg,
fitting.
what'd you think of the music?
Um, um, I like how like combine like modern elements into it. Although, frankly, like I didn't mind it because I can't really remember, and I watched it today, so like it wasn't that like it didn't really leave an impression.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting.
I thought it fit really well with the theme of with the tone of the movie and with like Miles Morales as a character.
It did fit.
Yeah. I also so towards the end, can I flash forward a little bit? They're in that fight scene. Can I say one thing also? That end fighting scene, I thought like the whole thing was a tiny bit long, but that's just me. Maybe a tiny,
Okay.
like a
That's
teensy bit.
fair.
I don't know. It dragged a tiny bit, but maybe I'm just being picky. I wanted to talk about specifically after they all went through like the
The
interdimensional portal,
portal.
and it was
Yeah.
just the second Peter Parker left, and he's like basically like, yeah, kid, I'm not going back. I'm gonna do this job. Like it's my duty. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
And I just really like the parallels they had in this movie and how like it changed because I think Miles didn't he do the same thing? No, wait. He held him similarly to how his uncle held him. Is that what it was? He held
Yeah,
him
yeah.
like
And
over like a
he's like,
ledge, right? Yeah.
you gotta go home, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you gotta go home, and I don't know, I thought that was really cool because I wrote down right before that was gonna happen. I was like, the second Peter is gonna die for Miles, and Miles will like either arrest or kill Kingpin, and like because it'll inspire him to go finish off Kingpin.
Yeah.
And again, like they took a little like detour and they didn't do what I thought they were gonna do, which was neat.
Well, it was unpredictable. I thought, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't. Spider-Man was just gonna go home.
I know. He's like, bro, you gotta go home, and he let him go. And
Yeah.
when he was falling, they took it so long. I thought Kingpin was gonna come in and kill him or something. I was convinced that he's like ha 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 and like kill him or something.
Also, it's like
Really good show.
interesting looking back at the scene where Peter first escapes from like the punching bag that Miles tied him up to, and he's like leaving the apartment and he's like, give me the goober. He's like, I gotta get home. And
Yeah.
he's like, did you break this? And during that scene, he doesn't care about saving the universe. He just wants to get home. And then compared to that last scene where he's like, I'm not going home. Like I gotta.
Yeah, I mean, he made him care again, right? He
Yeah.
really did. And then he realized afterwards, like, he had to go talk to MJ again, and you saw that's what happened
Yeah.
at the end, which I thought was neat. I don't know. Is there anything else? Do you guys want to like talk about anything at the end? Anything?
Well, I want
Yeah.
one thing that I was like, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I thought like we didn't need to see like his dad in the final fight scene. You know what I mean? Like his dad watching that. I understand the reason that he was there was like for him to see like Spider-Man's a good guy, like fighting against Kingpin and stuff like that. Like that was what like remember his dad at the end. It's like
Get up, Spider-Man.
but I realized it wasn't. You know, like who killed his uncle and stuff. But,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it was a little bit of a. It was fine because he was also like, "Get up, Spider-Man!" Like
Yeah.
Miles could kind of like see that.
But I would
And
agree.
also, sorry, I don't mean to like.
No, continue. I'm sorry. That's my bad.
When he's like, "Get up, Spider-Man," and like Miles gets up, that was also like a parallel to like when he was like in Aunt May's basement and they were telling him to get up and he like didn't get up when they were like saying like,
Yes.
"Get up, Miles."
Yeah. I also really liked the well, sorry, my bad. I didn't like how I thought his dad showed up out of the blue. Like, how in the world did he manage to get down there? Like, hello. First of all, how did he know where to go? Second of all, like the thing was getting torn apart. I just managed to walk in.
His dad's like a super cop or something.
also, I think that he didn't need to be there. It would have also like not explain like it was a little unreasonable for him to be able to get there. It's all that chaos.
Yeah.
And like I think he could have had his dad's voice in his head, or even the second Peter's voice in his head. I guess if you wanted the dad connection at the end, you could have his dad's voice in his head telling him like you can do like when he said in front of his door, it's like you could do whatever you put your mind to or whatever, like something like that, like you can do whatever you set your mind to.
That would have been more
Get up,
powerful.
Miles. And yeah, like his dad says that, and then Miles says in his head like, you can get up, like you know what I mean? I don't know. I think that would have been more right, Greg. I feel like that would have been more.
Would have been more powerful instead of, but also PDNY. I was like, what? It's MIP.
I think they were just trying to be like,
Oh, I know. I'm just kidding. No, but
Yeah.
in his head or something, like it would have been much more powerful because like then you have to think of the dad, like he has to think of his dad, like instead of his dad.
I think that they were just trying to find an easy way for the dad to realize that Spider-Man wasn't a bad guy, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there was a different way they could have gone about doing that, but that's the only really negative thing that I would.
Also, can we talk about the perfect aim by Miles at the end, throwing Kingpin all the way to like the button
Oh,
through
yeah.
all that stuff? That was impeccable aim right there.
I mean, I didn't really mind it. I thought it was like,
Well, for 20 minutes earlier, not knowing how to
yeah, I know.
throwing at the
hey,
fat.
that's 20 minutes movie time, all right? It's probably like an hour, 2 hours in the actual world, in the movie world.
Maybe. Oh man,
Um,
I thought that was kind of funny. And then there was one more thing that I thought was really neat, and this was at the end, when Miles said like, "Hey, I swear this is the last time." Like, he's like, this is how it started and everything." And
Yeah.
he mentions very specifically. He says, uh, like, "I am not the only Spider-Man. Like, there are many more like me out there." I thought
Yeah.
that was really like a really cool like
Yeah.
little thing
And he's like,
because at the
anyone can wear the mask. He's like, you can wear the mask. And it's
yeah,
like,
because at the beginning the original Spider-Man made sure to say like I am the only one like
yeah.
myself, like I'm the only Spider-Man, and I just like how like they emphasize the difference at the end. Like I'm like you know I've got other Spider-Men or Spider
Yeah.
people with me.
I think that was a big part of this movie is like, it's not about one person or accomplishing things on your own. It's about like coming
Working through it
together
together.
and like doing things as like a community and stuff like that,
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Um,
Yeah,
Also, I just wanted to bring up the scene where Miles is like about to jump off the building and it's playing like that song, like when he first sprays his suit and it's like all slow motion and stuff like that. I don't know. That scene gives me chills every time when he like first starts swinging through the streets on his own and stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job with him learning, kind of. You know what I mean? Like learning on his
Or
own.
like back, yeah, when he was learning back in like the forest how to swing. That was interesting. I thought
That's
that was
cool.
a cool scene. And you get
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Gwen's like introduction there too, which is cool.
Yes. Yeah, that was cool. I was so surprised. I was like, what? She's like Spider-Woman too? What?
Yeah.
And then I found out she's from
Dimension.
another dimension. I was like, oh, but still, it was still kind of neat. Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if, sorry, Connor, were you gonna say
I mean,
one more
like you
thing?
said, there were some like a few like convenient things, like
Yeah, I
oh,
made a
she's
mention.
like she feels this drawn to Miles' school for some reason or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just a couple of convenient plot points, but other than that, I thought this was like a really well done movie.
Actually, the other thing is, this is super nitpicky, but looking back, they could have had like Gwen, like maybe like kind of like glitch out really quick, like at school or something.
Oh, that would have been
That'd
interesting.
have been cool because you have no idea what in the world just happened.
Yeah.
They'd be like, huh? Like that'd be kind of neat. Wait, wasn't she at the school before the?
Yeah, that's where she's like I got blown into last week. Literally. That's what she says when she's like introducing herself.
Okay, I just thought that was kind of okay. That was interesting.
I don't know why she got blown into like the week before, but not the rest of them though.
To be fair, the other Spider-Man, the other Peter Parker was 12 years in the future, right? So like,
Yeah.
they're all at different points in time, I suppose.
You remember it's a kids movie. Which
Yeah.
I keep trying.
What
to
was it rated? Was it PG-13 or PG?
I don't
Do you
know. Let
know?
me check.
All right, I was just curious. I don't know. I mean, Greg, while Connor's doing that, I mean, I don't know, Greg, if you have any like other thoughts, because if not, I mean, we can give our ratings soon.
I don't.
PG.
But I have a rating.
All right, Greg, you have a rating. Would you like to kind of give us your rating, brief explanation?
So, first of all,
Mhm.
I really did like the movie. Thank you for this suggestion, Connor.
Yes, Connor.
I've been wanting to see it. I did not see it. I heard it was great. I typically have a problem with movies that like don't follow canon that are in the same like parent company and stuff. But I do really actually like this. It's like a separate work, and I was able to separate it nicely just because of how unique it was. It did a really good job with being like totally unique while also using like familiar elements of the comics and the other Spider-Man movies that kind of blended some stuff in together. I loved how it wasn't predictable. That was just really refreshing and like kept me like invested because then I knew like, oh, I have to pay attention or else like I'll miss something because just stuff's not predictable. I would like to see a little more like background on the uncle. Like I don't need to see a ton but they're just even a little bit would be okay.
Mm.
Even if it's just like a reference to like how we got into it or something, like if you needed money or something, I don't know what it is. Also, like there wasn't much of an explanation of the evil plan or the evil technology. I don't need a ton, just like a little bit would work. Like how like just about that, like that's serious technology they had there that was like the basis of the whole movie, and there just was no explanation whatsoever. It was just carrying a hard drive around. I mean, that's all it was. Um, I love the family dynamic and the love and like the support as like symbols of power and self affirmation as like a way to like bring out your like what your potential is and live be your best self. And I love the animation and the work like that. Just it was great. All the colors. It's so much effort and time. It was really good. And I love how there's a dynamic of like kind of the hero teaching like the older hero too, and all the heroes combined making like a squad of like the same
Yeah.
different dimensions. I really thought that just the concept overall was really good. So I give this movie a 70 to just kidding 90. I give it
The funny thing is, it sounded totally.
That was good, Greg. That was good.
Yeah. Sorry, you said a 90?
90.
That's a good score.
Yeah.
That's a good score. I mean,
You did this really well.
you know what, Connor, if you don't mind, I'll go because it was your movie. You should
Yeah,
you should
go
be the
ahead.
one to wrap it up. So yeah, I mean, I would agree with a lot of what Greg said. I thought, I mean, I was skeptical at first, just with the whole animation aspect, but I actually turned out liking it for the most part. I thought like the comic editions, like I said earlier, were really nice. I thought the family dynamic was really nice. I thought that a lot of stuff came almost full circle, which was cool. I liked a lot of the character change, a lot of the surprise, like the original Peter Parker dying, the introduction of a second Peter Parker, all the different Spider people were really cool. Like I said, Spider-Man Noir, awesome. Anyway, I mean, it was all cool. Kingpin was cool. I had never really seen him be. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe I haven't watched enough, but I haven't seen him in like a prominent Spider-Man movie, at least not for.
I mean, he's been the bad guy in the Daredevil TV show, and he was a
Okay.
bad guy in like Daredevil movie, but not really for a Spider-Man
Yeah, I
movie.
haven't seen that. So, that I mean, I thought that was really neat. I thought he was pretty cool. I liked all the different villains. I liked all the introductions to characters basically because I think it sets them up really well for other movies. If they wanted to go into even in different universes, I think that'd be really cool. Um, the only thing I wish that like him and his dad came all the way full circle. I understand why they didn't feel like they needed to, but I felt like it would have kind of been like icing on the cake. Um, I think that the end scene went a little long, and I think maybe we could have gotten a little more background, like Greg said, on the uncle. Maybe the dynamic between like a quick flashback of why the uncle and the dad like disliked each other so much. Although I guess that would have kind of given away the uncle being a bad guy. I don't really know. But overall, I thought it was really cool. I mean, the whole origin thing, a lot of the parallels, similarities from the beginning to end of the movie, like they had similar lines, like just the evolution of the characters throughout the movie was really cool. So I mean, I'm gonna give it a 91. I'm gonna one up Greg just by 1%. I'm gonna give it 91.
Oh,
But lower than Top Gun and Lord of the Rings. So
Fair enough.
Connor.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what you guys said that it was a cool different animation style that I think was kind of refreshing to see after like with a market that's so saturated with very similar styles of things. And also like the story was pretty refreshing. It wasn't like traditional by any means. You got to
Yeah.
see, it wasn't like movies just trying to have twists because they want a twist. It like actually made sense to the story. And it was a fun kind of like tale of like a superhero origin story, but it was about like so much more than that too. I mean, like all these characters seemed to be like well incorporated. I didn't feel like it was too much or anything like that. And I also thought that Miles Morales was a great character to like a new character to the big screen. I think that they explored,
Yeah.
and he was like, he was. We didn't really talk about him that much, but I think Miles Morales was like a great character with great like flaws and attributes and stuff like that. And I think that his arc plus like the second Peter Parker's character arc were just probably the thing that made this movie kind of like such a fun and but also like inspiring movie to watch at the same time.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like I needed that much more from the uncle and the dad. I just kind of, I just assumed that they had just taken different paths growing up and done different things.
Mm.
In terms of like the ending scene being a little long, I could see that, and also there were a couple like maybe convenient plot points, like the dad being there at the end, or Gwen meeting Miles before everyone else somehow, and they didn't explain that. But most of the unexplained things, like Greg mentioned, like they didn't really explain the technology behind the super collider or things like that. Most of those unexplained things didn't really bother me because I felt like, I could buy that they would make this, and like it doesn't really factor into the story how it works and stuff like that. And I thought that they revealed enough of Kingpin's motivation to like keep him a compelling villain, but not like let us lose sight of like Miles' story and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the characters were great. I thought the story overall was pretty good. More than pretty good. I thought it was really good. And I also thought that the music made this movie maybe a tier higher actually than it would have been otherwise if it had more traditional music and stuff like that. So yeah, I just have maybe a couple little nitpicks, but none of them really like compromise the movie for me. So I'd probably give this movie a 93%.
Wow. Okay, well, there you go. We have a 90 from Greg, a 91 from me, and a 93 from Connor. There we go. I mean, I think this might be the most agreement we've had out of any movie so far, actually,
Yeah,
which is actually kind of surprising. I wasn't really anticipating us all to fully agree on this.
I'm glad you guys actually liked an animated movie.
I know. I didn't think I would. I really didn't think I would. I don't know. I thought this one was quite solid.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that just about wraps it up. I mean, I think I'm going to be choosing the the movie for this next week, and I think we're going to try. I think the three of us think we're going to try to get back on that. Hopefully, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday
schedule
coming up this week. So I think we'll try to do a podcast by the end of this weekday this week. But yeah, I'll choose a movie for this next week, and I hope everyone enjoys. I hope.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back again next week.
Bye-bye.